The boy suddenly realized forging a check could be this easy. All he had to do was stick a model airplane logo onto a fake check, then use a small blade to scrape off the printed date, change it to tomorrow with a ballpoint pen, and he would have a check that looked completely real. Then the boy casually walked into a bank, picked a pretty teller to cash it, just as the woman was about to take a closer look at the check. No woman can resist a man's sweet talk. 17-year-old Frank scored his first pot of gold this way, but this amount of money was far from enough. So he went on to make hundreds of fake checks, because he knew that as long as he wore a pilot's uniform, everyone would look up to him. No bank would refuse a pilot holding an airline check. What surprised him even more was, even hotels were willing to cash checks for pilots. When Frank arrived at the airport, getting ready to cash another check, the staff asked him if he wanted to board a flight. That was when Frank learned pilots could fly for free. This sparked an even bolder idea. Why not take free flights around the world to cash checks at different banks? So that day, he walked into another bank, and once again picked a pretty teller, using his fake captain identity. Frank quickly won over the teller, and from her, he obtained the most critical bank check encoding information. Then he appeared at an auction, and bought an old magnetic ink character reader, a machine used to encode bank checks, to alter the codes at the bottom of the checks. This made his fake checks look more and more real. Even banks would only discover the fraud 2 weeks later. As the money he scammed kept increasing, he eventually became the FBI's #1 target, until Agent Carl found a check Frank had just used in a hotel. And at that exact moment, Frank returned to his hotel room. Carl immediately rushed in to arrest him. After seeing the tools used to forge checks on the table, he suddenly heard a sound from the bathroom. Frank calmly walked out. Without any panic, he told Carl that his name was Barry Allen, and that he was a Secret Service agent. The suspect had already been taken away by his colleagues. Carl, half convinced, asked to see Frank's credentials. Frank handed over his wallet without hesitation, but just as Carl was about to look, Frank told him to check outside the window. An old man was being pushed into a car. In fact, they were Frank's neighbors. With flawless acting skills, Frank completely fooled Carl. He even carried his forgery tools, and slipped away right under Carl's nose. When Carl finally snapped out of it and checked the credentials, he realized he had been played.